All right, so pretty much want to talk about the impact of timeshare on me as a person. Now, timeshare has had a big impact on my life just because moving to Vegas, doing it as a career, things like that. But just thinking about how to communicate the the concept to people, just to be open to kind of see it beyond the negatives, right? So overall, to me, the concept is really simple. First off, if you're not committed to vacation, you shouldn't buy a timeshare. So the first thing is really all about commitment. So the reasons people do it are the same reasons people don't do it, and commitment is the biggest issue. People don't want to commit to paying something if they don't know they're going to use it, right? So when I have conversations with people, that's one of the first questions is, are they committed to vacationing? So obviously, if I'm talking about timeshare, it's going to be related to vacation, but the concept, or at least how it works, I'll say that how it works. So this is how I see it and how I apply the concepts of how timeshare works to my everyday life. So first and foremost, the commitment aspect. If you're not committed to it, don't do it, right? But what would a person get out of a timeshare if they are committed to it? It's an opportunity to put a plan in place to ensure that you have a way to get away with the people you care about, or get away if you need to get away by yourself to recharge or whatever the benefit you get from taking trips or vacations. So it's, in my opinion, a better way to do it than just paying out of pocket, being at the mercy of the market. So the trade-off for the commitment is also the expectation and a consistent standard of what you will get back for what you invest. Now, for people who have the money, I would recommend basically paying it off, buying something small that you can pay off quickly, and then growing it over time. So that way you don't overspend or waste any money, because if you finance through a timeshare company, it's high interest rate. So why are all these things relevant? I did timeshare for 7 years, and what ultimately I understood was, if people can't see the benefit, then it's hard for them to wrap their mind around the value, because the way most people vacation is just simply to pay for it and be done with. You don't have to think about it. It's no commitment. But also, most people that vacation that way take less vacations than people who have timeshares. Or if they take the same amount of vacations, either they're sacrificing on the quality, or they're paying more than they would have to pay if they had a timeshare. So how does that relate to everyday life? So if you've never experienced traveling with a timeshare, it's hard to see the value, right? Same thing in life. If you've never had a job that you could see as a career, something that you get fulfillment out of, something that is going to put you in a position to provide the quality of life and lifestyle that you want for yourself and your family, it's going to be very hard to commit to that job, right? It's typically you're doing what you have to do in a circumstance. Now, if you had an opportunity for less commitment to a better career, then it would make sense, if you believe that that other career or other opportunity will actually be better than whatever you're doing. But if you never experienced that, it's hard to imagine something that you've never seen. So in life, I think a lot of people get stuck at where they are and whatever circumstances they're in because they don't see something bigger or better, or feel like it's a reality for them. So I use like food as an example. little kids' favorite food might be chicken nuggets or French fries or whatever. And that's because based off their experience, that's the best thing that they had. But as they get older and they get introduced to more things, typically they're going to change what they see as like something that's good. Adults, if you've never been to, I won't even say a 5-star restaurant, just a nice restaurant, a legit upscale restaurant, and I don't know, your best experience is Applebee's. I'm not taking a shot at Applebee's, but if that's your best experience, then I'll present you the opportunity. Hey, you had this opportunity to go take your family to Applebee's once a month, but you have to commit to it. It's probably gonna be hard to commit because I can't justify committing to something that's not a huge value or something that I don't see. But if you had an extraordinary experience, you went to this restaurant, and I told you can go to that, I don't know, Gordon Ramsay or, Guy Fieri, whatever, for the same money that you could go spend at Applebee's. If you've had an experience like that, you'd probably be more likely to commit to that than you would be committing to Applebee's. But the thing is, that's what most people do. Even though they don't want to commit, they end up spending the money anyway because you don't want to commit to going to Applebee's because the experience is not that great and you don't see value in committing to it. But then you turn around and go to Applebee's. You don't go every month, you go every other month. You still spend the money. So that's kind of where I see how like timeshare is. If it's something you're gonna do, you're gonna spend the money. So how do you get the best bang for your buck, the most value for your money? And then the flip side of the coin is by not committing to it, what are you risking, right? Because if you have a timeshare, like I have a timeshare, I don't know how I'm gonna use it, but I know for certain what it cost me to have a 2-bedroom for a week. I know I'm gonna use it. I know I'll create a lot of memories with my children because I have one that I might not if I didn't. Now, whether I had a timeshare or not, because it's a priority to me, I would make something happen where I create some type of positive experience or memories with my kids when I have them because I understand the importance because one, I didn't have it growing up, and two, I didn't do enough of it earlier in my life when my older kids were younger. And I feel like that's a huge impact on our relationships. Now, I did more than I realized but it still was around timeshare. I bought into this small little timeshare called Lost Valley Lake. I remember going out there with my family, including my dad, taking him out there for little getaways for the 4th of July. So I kind of learned how to do timeshare on a very small scale. It wasn't too far from St. Louis. It wasn't a lot to do. But then went from that to having a timeshare in Orlando. Now, I've had it for years. I've only used it once. And then Lily took the kids out there and used it once. Coming up on the time I'll use it again. But I have those memories from taking Aaliyah, Sophia, and Micah, doing Universal Studios, taking Sophia and Micah to the beach. And the value of that, I mean, I don't know what's comparable. Now, doing stuff like that without timeshare. When I was working for Hilton, got employee rates. So I'll compare it to vacations. So one, being a timeshare vacation, we're staying at Westgate in a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. It's stuff on a resort to do. The kids want to go swimming. It's like a little arcade. It's a children's play area. They host things. They got like events. Kids can go get ice cream, watch movies, Legos, all of this stuff at the timeshare resort with Westgate. And I'm gonna use, so $1,500, both vacations, $1,500. And that's cheap for a family vacation. So this is the difference. With the $1,500 that I had to go to Orlando, I have access to the entire $1,500 because I'm not paying for the room. it's expensive to go to Universal Studios with 4 people, and even at the time, Michael was still 2, so he didn't even cost the same. But anyway, but it was almost $500 just to go to the park for one day. I wouldn't have that $500 if I had to pay for the room. We went to Walmart. I probably spent about $300 on food because I wasn't spending so much money on the room, or I wasn't spending any money on the room. My kids were able to pick somewhere for us to go eat every day. So we tried different things while we were out there. And overall, it was a very good experience. Everybody had their space. Everybody enjoyed themselves. And just as far as the money, like I said, I was about $300 when I first got there to go get groceries and little small things that the kids might need. The money to go to the parks, the rest of the money primarily on restaurants, but I was able to stretch it for a whole week, $1,500, and kids had a great experience. Now, having that same $1,500, doing it the other way. Now, we stand at a Waldorf Astoria. Found 5 days on friends and family rates. It's only $80 a day. So total is like $450 for 5 days. But it's a Waldorf Astoria, so this is a high-end place. So now we stand at a Waldorf Astoria, but when I get there, now this is a road trip, so go from Vegas to Phoenix, as we stayed at the Biltmore in Phoenix. With this same money, when I get to the Waldorf, even though the reservation was only like $400 and some with the taxes, it's $150 a night hold. So just to check in, because it's 5 days, right? That's a $750 on my card that I don't have access to for the vacation. So now we here, but I got like $300. We can't really do too much. Now, we had a Waldorf Astoria. It's a bunch of water parks and pool. Well, I don't want to say water parks, but like it's a bunch of pools, and they got like a spiral slide, and there's a kids play splash pad. So we still made the most out of it. But that 5 days, we pretty much were just at the Waldorf Astoria. They had a nice restaurant, but we had to eat there because I had to take advantage of, the team member discount for food, as well as the daily credit for being a Gold Hilton Honors member. So we get $100 of free food every day. So I can feed the kids with that, but they can't pick. We can't go to a different restaurant. We're not doing all these different things. Now, they still had a good experience. It was still a great time. Oh, but we're not in a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. It's a beautiful room, got a fancy coffee maker, all of that, but it's 1 bathroom. A teenage girl want to be in the bathroom 3 hours. The younger kids knocking on the door and they frustrated and all of this. So both experiences I'm glad that we were able to have, but without the timeshare, the alternative, especially if not being an employee for one of the major hotel chains, is what? What could I do with $1,500 if I don't work for Hilton? Not much, because I would have never been able to stay at a Waldorf Astoria. I know that. Or I wouldn't have paid for it, because it's like $500 a night, so we wouldn't have done it. So those are 2 different ways where I have access to do things where it doesn't cost me as much as it would normally cost. But given a choice between the 2, all of my kids would rather be at the timeshare. Now, I'm grateful that I was able to provide that opportunity for my kids to experience something like that, especially at the ages that they did. But even going into a Waldorf Astoria, and they probably don't really understand how significant that is because they're young. But my kids looking like we in a room. Everybody in the same room. It's 2 beds, it's 1 TV, all these different issues that we don't have with timeshare. And where, yeah, they have fun. I got videos of them at the splash pad. I took took Sophia to go do the little spiral water slide, and we got frozen yogurt and we had good food. It was quality. It was a good vacation. But at the end of the day, we ended up being stuck at the resort. Then I had to go spend like $30 to do laundry at the end of the week. at the laundromat, because we don't got a washer and dryer. There wasn't even a microwave in the room. All these different things, but to pay that much money that I would pay retail for something like that, it wouldn't be worth it for me. And then even if I have a deal or a discount, or I just had the money to do it, the experience isn't the same. So that's vacation standpoint, right? I committed to the timeshare. I see more benefit, and I'll be able to continue to do that because I don't know if I'll go to that Waldorf Astoria again. I know that we're always going to have access to that 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom at Westgate. So to me, that's a better investment. Now, it still costs me more upfront, but long term, it's something that I own. I don't mind paying the maintenance because that's the trade-off. I know what I get for the money that I spend for the maintenance. So how does that relate to just day to day? If I want better and I want more than what I have, there's gonna have to be a commitment at some level. Now I can make a small, consistent commitment, so the compound effect, do certain things every day, and get the overall, benefit over the long haul, or put things off and then wait until I have to pay more than what I had to pay just to do it consistently. So that's the commitment, that's the trade-off. And because I do feel like it's a lot more for myself, for my kids, that I can provide, that we can explore, we can learn together, then I will make that commitment as a person to invest in myself, my health, creating a situation that is going to allow me to do these things for and with my children. And that's going to be more value than just spending money to buy, I don't know, toys or little materialistic things that aren't going to provide value. I've been to so many funerals in the past few years, and all I have are those memories. So that's the big thing. You only have the memories that you create. So I'm trying to be mindful of creating positive memories with the people I care about. Now, right now, that's primarily my kids, but it's not just my kids. I had started traveling to go see family. But anyway, you have to do the stuff to make the memories. So have an opportunity to be where I'm at to make the memories that one day that will be all that's left of me. That in these videos, which is another reason I do this, because I never hear my granddad voice again. I never hear my dad voice again. I never hear my Uncle Keith voice again, my grandma, like all these different people. And I don't want that to be the reality for the people I leave behind. And I also want primarily my kids to be able to have access to me whenever they want. So I don't want to continue to ramble, but basically, for me, when it comes down to if timeshare makes sense or not, is one, do you want something better than what you've experienced to this point? Because I do believe timeshare is better than hotels, and that's what most people experience. And then, is it important to you? So if you committed to it, are you willing to make a consistent investment versus just chunks at a time? And if you are, then it makes so much more sense than doing it the other way, because ultimately the peace of mind that I have knowing that I'm going to be able to do these things with the people that I care about for the rest of my life. And then once my life is over, my kids and grandkids will still be able to do these things with their families. And it's something that will always be in my family. That's huge to me. And I don't want that just to extend a vacation. So I'm trying to create a life where my legacy is beyond just timeshare, but ultimately I'm setting up future generations of my family to have a higher quality of life, a higher standard of living, and less stress, and have vehicles to provide those opportunities where they don't have to sacrifice so much. I'm willing to sacrifice, I'm willing to invest, I'm willing to do everything that I need to do for the people that I care about to benefit from it. And I've already seen that, but I know there's so much more potential. So that's really why, like, when I say timeshare, Clarence, is legit. It's had so much impact on me just to break down you know, what I really get out of a timeshare, and then also uh, apply those thought processes and principles to other areas of my life. And I think that's dope.